Okay, welcome back to this Regex in Excel course. This is going to be the first advanced lesson, and we're kind of going to revisit lesson 1 about character classes, but expand on it and take it to the next level. So if I type everything on my keyboard, this is what I'll get out. Uppercase alphabet, lowercase alphabet, digits, and a bunch of symbols. And most of the regex we've learned so far in this course deals with these things. However, you might not always be in English, and there are many more symbols than this. In fact, there's about 200,000, so you could have Chinese, Japanese, anything like that. And some of the methods we've learned so far won't work when we're in different languages or using some of these different kind of symbols that you'll see less often. So consider something like this, where we have this resume and cafe with accents on. In our old way, we could say REGEXTRACT from here, and let's say our pattern was in square brackets, lowercase alphabet, so A to Z, and uppercase alphabet, A to Z. Close our square brackets, let's put a plus on, so any number, or one or more of those, should we say, and let's pull out all matches. That should pull all of our words. But you'll see where we get this resume, we're missing the E, because it has an accent on, and that accented E does not fall into our A to Z range. So in this case, we can actually solve it with something we already know, which is the \W kind of word character. So this does count other language letters as word characters. But what's even better is to use Unicode properties, and this is the advanced kind of Unicode character classes that this video will be about. And to activate that, we can say \p, that indicates we want a Unicode character property, and then in curly brackets, we specify the types. And then this will be an uppercase letter. So L stands for letters, N stands for numbers, and so on. So let's start with L, and let's put a plus there again. So now, if we change our pattern to be this thing, you'll see that we pull out all of the accented characters, and this will even work with things like Chinese letters and so on. So if we pull that out, we get it out just fine. So in this cheat sheet that's linked in the description, you'll see these character classes broken down. We've covered these ones, digits, word characters, and so on, and this is all of the Unicode ones. So the way it works is we have kind of a main heading, so this is letters, and then that is further broken down into lowercase and uppercase letters. So if we just go back to our example, if we were to pull out lowercase letters, we could say P, so Unicode class letters, and then lowercase l for lowercase letters, and now you'll see we don't get any capitals out. Or we could have a U for uppercase letters, and now we only pull out this S, and so on. So on this character class tab, you'll see I've broken down and put a description of what's in there. And in this sheet that's personal to me, I've actually pulled out all of the Unicode characters here. Now the reason this isn't in the shared file is because it makes the file too large, because there are so many of these. If I just scroll down, you'll see we get down to 200,000 Unicode symbols. It's kind of amazing that all of these are in Excel, to be honest. So some of them are not assigned yet. So you see these question marks, that's a Unicode number that is available for a symbol to be assigned. And behind every single one of these Unicode symbols is kind of a hidden tag that we can pull on from regex. So this is what we had before, and I've just done it here to show you the kind of impact of other languages. So \D we learnt was digits, so for us 0 to 9, but you have all of these overseas digits from other languages that can be pulled out with \D. Same as \W, any word characters and digits. \S is white space, so there's actually a load here that you can't see because they're white space, so that's tabs, line breaks, and so on and so on. And \X we learned pulls out absolutely everything, so we go to the bottom of our list and it pulls everything out. So this is just a filter on our Unicode characters. Now, I just want to show what characters are included in these kind of Unicode classes, and then I'll show some examples of how we can use those to pull out things that we otherwise might not be able to do. So the first category is these letters. So this is a bit like the word character. It will pull every letter out, but it won't pull symbols out. So if you see down here, as we get to these symbols, they come out of the filter and are not included, nor are these kind of fraction characters and so on. So if I expand that, the letters can be broken down into kind of uppercase, lowercase. This is other. M is like modifier, and T is title case. There's not actually many of those. I don't even know what they're for. That's letters. Numbers is quite interesting. So capital N obviously includes all of them, which is then further broken down into these subcategories. So numbers D is just digits, so we get digits in all languages. Numbers L is kind of letter numbers. So Roman numerals, these Unicode symbols for Roman numerals are numbers, but they're in almost like a letter form. So we get these L, C, D, M, they're Roman numerals, so is all this stuff. Yeah, so super interesting. And then numbers O is other, so you get like subscript, superscript, fractions, and some of these other symbols down here where the number is in a circle. And then we have symbols and punctuation. So these can be similar, but the way I understand it, symbols is more like mathematical type of symbols. So symbols broken down into mathematical symbols, currency symbols, which is very useful. K is modifiers and O is other. Punctuation has dashes. PS is start, kind of opening bracket type stuff. E is end, so ending bracket type stuff. I is initial quotations, F is ending quotations, and so on. And then M is marks. So in Unicode, you can actually kind of stack Unicode characters on top of each other. So you may have an E, and then an E with an accent could be written as its standard Unicode letter, or you could add one of these marks to the character E. And we'll come back to those in a moment, so those are quite interesting. And then S is separators. You won't see these because they're white space. There's actually more of those, I think, that I've put in here. So you've got, space separators, line separators, paragraph separators. If you ever need them, they're there in this cheat sheet. So now let's look at some examples where this is actually useful. So the first example is this. We have a holiday and we have a log of what flight number we were on, a date, and then we have a cost, but our cost is in different currencies. So let's say we wanted to pull out all of the amounts that are preceded by a currency symbol. Well, our pattern could be, let's say, \P. So we want the Unicode character, we want a symbol, so uppercase S, and we want currency symbols, so a C. So as you can see, these are kind of intuitive to remember because S stands for symbol, C stands for currency, like so. So we're going to have a currency symbol and then a number of digits. So let's say \D and let's say plus. So if we say REGEXTRACT from here, this pattern, and let's get all matches, you'll see we get out our amounts. Now you may notice we're not actually pulling out the decimal point here. So the 450 is actually 450.75. So this is going to be another kind of instructive point on some of the stuff we've learned already in regex, which is we want to add a optional dot and then two numbers. So how do we do that? Well, we could just say that we want a dot. However, that dot is going to give us any character. So we're going to get this 320 comma. So we need to say a \, to be a literal dot, not any character. So we're cancelling the special kind of regex use. And we want it to be optional, so we put a question mark behind it. So now we've got the currency point out, but you'll also see on this $45, we've got the full stop. So that's not quite right. And we need to add the optional 2 digits. So this is where capture groups come in, and I'm jumping ahead to what will be in a later lesson. But after our original currency symbol and 2 digits, we can use a capture group, which works a bit like in maths. You can separate sections of your pattern off into brackets, but it's just called a capture group in regex. So our optional capture group is a dot, so \dot, and then a number of digits, so \D plus. And let's close our brackets. This is going to make sure we find that pattern, so we only get our 450.75. So let's make that entire capture group optional with a question mark behind it. So now we get things out properly without this full stop after the $45 and so on. So we've used this Unicode character class, \D, we've used a quantifier, and we've used an optional capture group here. So, and we've used a \, to escape something. So we're using a lot of the skills that we learned in earlier lessons. Now let's do one more example. So earlier I said about stacking Unicode characters on top of each other. And some people do this intentionally to corrupt text, and that's called Zalgo text. So I have an example here, and we're going to clean all of this corruption up. So let's start to do a pattern. So if I just said \P, so this is Unicode properties, what do I want? I want capital M is marks. Then you'll see we do actually get them out. It's just they're not kind of printable on your screen. You can't see them. If we used our old \X, then we get all of the corrupted characters out individually because X is like every printable character you see on your screen. So that's useful, but we want to get rid of the Zalgo text. So let's keep these marks. And then in our formula here, let's change REGEXEXTRACT to REGEXREPLACE. So let's replace all of the marks with nothing. Then we've cleaned that Zalgo text up. We're saying replace all marks with nothing. Now, there is actually a bit of a cheat we can do here without knowing this marks trick, and that is to say equals REGEXTRACT from here, any character. So if we say the pattern is a dot and we want all matches, we will actually see the individual characters. So we could read that, congratulations, you can see the Zalgo text. But all of those marks are actually inside here, but unprintable. So if we were to concatenate it back together, we'd be screwed, but we can remove it with this \M. So use the cheat sheet and kind of play around with these classes at your leisure. I'd say the most useful ones are pulling out specifically uppercase and lowercase letters, and just letters in general actually, because the difference, if I come to here, I've put in some numbers and text. The word character includes numbers and text, but the \PL does not include numbers. So it's an easy way to get rid of numbers rather than doing, you know, the /D just to get letters. So yeah, just gives you more options. In Excel, you can actually drop this curly braces and put a lowercase l, but that is just a unique nuance that works for the letters character. It won't work for any of these others. So I would get into the habit of writing it out properly, like so. I think it even might work with a lowercase in here. So if I said LL, I get lowercase only. So if I put a, yeah, it splits them out. So if I did upper, yeah, that works. So I'm not sure the capitalization is important in here, but this is the official kind of documentation of how to write it. So I like to stick to that and try and do an uppercase for the main category and a lowercase for the subcategory if I need it. So yeah, like I was saying, uppercase, lowercase, very useful. I would say numbers, not as useful because we have /D, which is easier to remember. Currency symbols, very useful, especially in finance. We work with currency symbols a lot. Marks potentially could be useful, but yeah, this is more of a come back to the cheat sheet if you have a really niche scenario that you need to solve. And as always, you can put in this cheat sheet anything in here, the test character, and it will highlight what categories it falls into. So this is a punctuation, it's a start punctuation, yes, because it's an opening bracket, a closing bracket, let's do a square, closing bracket will be an end punctuation, and so on. So you can play with that and see what characters are what. If you found this useful, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.